This is CC. Welcome to the Orbit. It is Thursday, April 4th. We've got stocks higher this morning by about 0.7%. That was a gap higher overnight, and it's very similar to the gap lower we saw yesterday of about the same amount, about a 0.7% gap. And when we go to the 1 week chart, we can see that gap fill back higher not only takes us back unchanged or even up slightly over the last 2 days, but it does over the entire week. We are basically back to where we started. And jobs number tomorrow morning, and options are only pricing 0.6% move at about 14 vol. See that the market is actually moving day to day and particularly overnight this week, but we are still kind of going sideways on the week. We are also repeating a pattern that we have seen and we've been talking about that has existed for months, which is we are, hitting these channel highs and these channel lows. It is decelerating a little bit. You can kind of see that curve at the top of this SPX chart, but it still remains until it fails and until we actually slide through the bottom of that channel and kind of put some fear into the market. This pattern will remain, and it's why we're at such low vol levels in options. As far as the trading today, we've got just a point to call it a quarter of a point expected move for the rest of the day. Assumption yesterday that options were making, but we actually did have a pretty big range. You had this gap lower, and let's just look here. You had this gap lower yesterday, but that if you look at this range from the lows to the high and back down, that was, it was regularly making moves over a half of a point. So you have to be very careful as a premium seller here, is that this is already pricing for this to go directly sideways all day. Now, when volatility is this low intraday and 0 DTE, and you can see that IV, it's just 12. You are not being rewarded for selling early in the morning. Now, if IV was 20 tomorrow or 25 tomorrow going into the jobs number, and it opened up with that sort of uncertainty still in the market, and IV was 25 on the open, and we saw a move based upon those jobs numbers, that's when you're getting rewarded for selling premium early because you're selling it at high vol. In this case, when volatility is just 12, you can wait on this. This straddle is not going to change that much. We are looking at a straddle and an expected move of really pricing about, let's call it 15 points in either direction. In 2 hours, that's not going to be much less. It's already below 15 in either direction. That is going to have a hard time getting anywhere less than 10 in either direction, even like an hour and a half or 2 hours into the close. So that's one of the arguments at low vol to kind of be patient during the day. At high vol levels, it might incentivize you to get in earlier in the day because those straddles are going to be wide, the expected moves are going to be wide. And honestly, on a day like tomorrow, where you have a jobs number, if vol were to tick up into the number, that would decay into the close, not only premium wise, but probably IV wise, because it is a Friday.